they're a realtor who hasn't been around that long. They don't even present themselves
Said, dude,
professionally. We're gonna eat their lunch, so let's get the most that we can out of them.
said, dude's
Because
a
I know they're not gonna
clown.
do it. Yeah, they're a clown, bro. Like, look at him, look at him, look at his haircut. You know what I'm saying? But what do you guys think about professionalism as an entrepreneur, especially as a realtor? So there are things that we're starting to see online now because that engagement is going down. We're starting to see a lot of realtors play the clown
Yeah,
on
definitely.
like Instagram or even YouTube too, Facebook, whatever it may be. TikTok, I mean, that's been going on since TikTok was started, right? But what do you think about that?
I think that there's definitely dress and groom is super important whenever you're working in real estate, right? Or when you're selling homes. I think that the shock factor, right? Um, you know, at first, whenever social media started doing all this stuff, with the showing homes with tight clothes and with short skirts and doing all this crazy stuff to attract attention. Everybody's starting to get bored of it, so people are sinking lower and lower and lower to get these views and get these likes and get these people to engage with their social media, and it's getting out of hand, in my opinion.
So do you think that clout equals an amount? Do you think that people can make sales from getting their clout? Not necessarily what happened 2, 3 years ago. I'm talking about our current housing market moving forward. Do you think that building up enough clout, whether that be having 10,000 followers, a million followers on IG, do you think that that's going to generate sales how it was in the last 2, 3 years?
So the thing that I understood a long time ago, right, is that the person that is known the most is the person that lives on in this game, right, in this business, right. When I started in real estate, the person who had the most listings, right, or who you saw more on HAR, that was the person that was deemed the most successful in real estate, right? And it correlated with success because they had a lot of listings, or they were doing a lot of closings. Unfortunately, that same I guess formula doesn't translate well onto social media, because you see realtors, you see people who are super popular on Instagram, super famous, local celebrities, even some of them, right? But their numbers don't add up on their or on HAR on their closings. So unfortunately, they've chosen the route of just being an influencer versus being a real estate agent or being a closer.
So in that, I think that for us, people that are in the same industry, we can see that those numbers don't add up. But for other people, that are, watching, that have no background
Yeah,
on real estate, for them, the numbers do add up.
yeah,
So honestly, I do think that I mean, it affects. And of course, they're going to keep on having, probably not the same volume of sales, but they're going to keep on being, present in front of other people's faces. Because, I mean, if somebody keeps on popping up in your feed, what are you going to think? Oh, no, like, she's working. He's working.
she's super successful. She
Exactly.
knows what she's doing. Yeah.
Exactly. So for people that doesn't know the industry like the way we do it, I mean, yeah, they're gonna think that they're super successful because they don't have like the resources to probably
To
check on somebody's
Yeah,
numbers.
So look at the back end, yeah. Well, I think what you're talking about is more on the actual realtor side, like new realtors coming into the business. Do you think that that is actually going to affect the psyche of people who are buying and selling? Because I am on the position where I don't think that the clout no longer converts to an amount, a dollar amount no longer. That's falling off because people are starting to have to get even more and more crazy on what they're doing, showing their butt off on IG, not their physical butt, right? But showing themselves off on IG, doing something crazy to get the likes and the follows, and they think that's going to convert. And I'm completely saying that that's going to go away, especially what we're moving into on our second half of the podcast here.
Man, honestly, I don't think it's going to completely go away. I mean, at the end of the day, social media, internet, is the new trend, is the new generation's trend. So really, like, I think is just the way of or the matter on how you're going to present and be, try to approach your clients in social media that is going to make the difference.
Well, the thing about it, right? And once again, right, because I did cold calling when I started in sales. My first sales job was literally cold calling, and what I was trained to do, or what they told me, it says, hey, or the name of the game right here is to introduce yourself to everybody. You're never going to sell somebody on a phone. All you're doing is introducing yourself, and you're getting the person to know your name, your company, and what you do, right? And social media has fast tracked that. It has made it. I mean, you could literally do a video and do exactly what cold calling does to a mass audience. If they look at if they look at your your Instagram, or if they're following you,
Yeah,
right?
but how you present yourself in that video is one to me is what makes different from other realtors, because that's basically that's how social media works for me
Mhm.
personally. Like, I present myself in a video being professional, like, not talking crap or anything. And whenever I go to meet my clients for the first time, I mean, they know that I'm going to be professional with them.
You establish a sense of respect for
Yes.
yourself already.
Yes, like, if, like, let's say if somebody comments, like, puts a comment that it's like not appropriate for me, I'll either delete the comment or just like not answer all, because I don't want to see my audience that I get engaged, in those type of comments.
Yeah, that's true. I just want to add on real quick. When I went to go show some rentals not that long ago, I went to go show it for someone, and I was actually in a suit that day. When I was showing the rentals, I was meeting up the client for the first time. I was in a suit. I presented the house very well. As soon as I finished the showing, there was another couple there, and they were waiting for the showing for their agent, and they told me, "Hey, are you this person?" I was like, "No, I'm this person's agent." They were like, "Oh, okay." And I was like, "Are you here with an agent?" And then they told me, "Yeah, he texted me right now that he's here." And I saw somebody walking. I was like, "Is it him?" And they were like, "Oh yeah, that is him." And then I heard them. They were like, "Man, I wish our agent dressed as well as he did." And the agent pulled up. He pulled up his sweatpants and a hoodie with running shoes, like he just came from the gym or something. And I heard that from the back end, and I was just smiling. I was like, "Yeah, I'm representing Lionsgate," you know.
So I said that one time, right? Because I get a lot of heat from people because because I always wear a suit, right? And I tell them, it's something that's been ingrained in me since I started in sales. Because when I started in sales, they literally forced me to wear a white button up shirt. They said anybody who wears at that time, statistics showed that if you wore a white shirt, you were deemed as I guess um, you were deemed as trustworthy, right? And so I always wear a white shirt, button up shirt to this day, you know. And I always wear if I don't have a suit, I have a sports coat. I always wear dress shoes, right? And that was because that was ingrained in me. Even the cell, at the time, they said, hey, within 6 months you have to own a car that's no later, older than 3 years. And I was like, wow, I mean, this is crazy. Like, I don't think I could do that, but it took me those 6 months and years to figure out what they were trying to do, why they were telling me these things, why I was getting into this mindset, right? And it's because you have to be presentable, you have to be professional. And I just don't see that anymore. Everybody thinks that dressing in a t-shirt and jeans and doing all these things is deemed successful, right? Oh, I woke up at 12 o'clock in the evening, and I'm in a t-shirt, and I'm a computer, and I'm successful. I'm day trading, whatever, right? And okay, if you want to wake up at 12 and you want to dress in jeans and a t-shirt, at least have that fortune that the people that do that have. Like, oh, Mark Zuckerberg wears hoodies all day. Mark Zuckerberg's a billionaire. You're not Mark Zuckerberg. Like, you are. You get your butt up, put on that dang suit, and get your butt out there and work and introduce yourself into you no longer have to. And a lot of people don't understand that.
You know what? That's very true what you're saying, and I don't necessarily want to beat a dead horse because I feel like this is something that we've talked about at least once a month.
Mhm.
This topic comes up, especially
Yeah.
about the way people's appearances,
Yeah.
right? Especially here in Houston,
Yeah.
especially here because it gets hot and people are too lazy to put on a suit or they don't want to sweat. Like, bro, you just got to be in the so you're in the AC 90% of the time. Like, you're not out there walking houses that don't have no AC most of the time. Every now and again, you got to show some investors, right? But they understand why you're sweating and you're sweating through your suit. You wear a suit that it's one of your beaters, right? But just to double down on that point, if you are somebody who shows, for example, like just Land and Ranch, I think it's okay to show up as what is considered professionalism
Yeah.
for that area, right?
Yeah.
So if you're in Land and Ranch, I mean, of course, they're not going to expect you to be in red bottoms where there's nothing but mud, right? Where you're showing the ranch where you got to walk 20 feet worth of mud. You can show up in your cowboy boots, or you can show up in your mud boots, right? But it's the way that you carry yourself along with the way that you present yourself. Go ahead, Flo.
I think at the end of the day, even though if like myself, I am like a farmer ranch realtor. So if I know that I'm gonna show ranch, I'm gonna show acres. I mean, I'm still gonna go dress professionally. How is that gonna show? I mean, maybe mud boots or like cowgirl boots. In my environment, that's what fits in that moment.
Yeah.
But there's some other a lot of realtors that will show up to your clients showings or whatever, like just basically the way we just woke up this morning. And I have clients that have come to me as referrals where they tell me and say, hey, I was working with somebody else, and this person was never professional, like neither the way they spoke, neither the way they dress. So I mean, that just makes all of us like look bad.
No, definitely. And I think what ends up happening with a lot of realtors, right, whenever it comes to that not being professional, is because there's such a low bar to entry here. And then not just as a realtor, but also there's a low bar to entry for some brokers,
Yeah.
especially the way that broker carries himself. It comes from the culture or what you see others do. Your realtors are going to imitate your team leader or your broker, right?
Yeah.
Again, whenever I came into this company, the one thing that Nate always told me is always have a blue blazer in your car somewhere in your trunk, even if it gets wrinkled, just have it there because you never know when you're gonna get called. I remember one time I was showing one of my friends a house. I had been showing them a lot of houses. I was a new agent, showing them like probably around 10 at that time.
Oh
right?
my God.
I know, but I was a brand new agent. And it was a friend of mine. It was a friend of mine. I don't do that no more. So if I'm showing you houses right now, you get your 5 and make a decision. But I was showing my friend, right? And he called me on the phone while I was at the gym. Like, hey Giovanni, can you come show me this house? I'm down the street, man. And it was down the street from the gym where I was at. I was like, yeah, I pulled up, threw on that blazer and freaking basketball shorts and a tank top, and I showed that house in that, and he got that house. So it's worth for you to carry that around.
Yeah.
I mean, it gives you some form of professionalism.
And you'll be surprised how a blue blazer will dress up anything, literally, like even shorts and a t-shirt, but also another thing too, and I always say this story, right? Like I come from a modest background, right? A modest background and from Old Baytown, right? And we I don't like to use the word poor. We're modest, right? We just a very not a, my father and my mother didn't make a lot of money, right? But one thing was that we're always clean. If you look at pictures of me, I was always clean. I always had clothes. It might have been secondhand Ralph Lauren, but I had it. My mom was really good at looking for that stuff. And so I always look at that. Like we were always clean. We were always eating well. We were always taken care of. And so whenever I have real estate agents, they come into this business, and I tell them, hey, you know what? I really need you to dress better. I need you to cut your hair, and when they come in, really raw, we're not gonna say, hey, tomorrow you need to do this, right? We're like, hey, look, start working towards grooming yourself, cutting your hair, getting that suit, getting that sports coat, whatever it is that you need to get. Clean your car. You don't have to have a brand new car. Have a clean car. You know what I'm saying? If you show up to a listing and your car is dirty, your car is wrecked, your car is I'm not throwing shade at you. I'm not throwing shade. She just wrecked yesterday. It was a brand new
Our car is not wrecked. It got in a wreck. It got in a wreck.
Well, you know what? But that makes sense. Like there's actually I've seen real estate agents that drive around in a wrecked car for months, a year, and it's like, bro, like you don't have insurance, So when you pull up to a home and your car is wrecked and you're not getting it fixed, what does it say about you? It says that you're not responsible. It says that you don't have insurance. It says that you're not the type of person that takes care of himself, that cleans his car, that cares about his grooming, that cares about any of that stuff. So what can you really give, your client if that's the type of person you are?
And what a lot of people don't understand, right? At the very beginning, when you're a new realtor, all you have is the way you present yourself
Yes.
and how you look.
Yes.
Yes.
You're not extremely knowledgeable. It doesn't matter what you've been doing. If you've done 10,000 flips, if you're doing buy and sell, it doesn't necessarily mean that you understand the process of what the buyers and the sellers are going through because you did 10,000 flips. It doesn't mean anything. And then if you've never been involved in real estate whatsoever, all you have is the way that you dress and how you present yourself to give your clients confidence in you, right? Everything else is going to come from what your broker is teaching you. But at the bare minimum, present yourself properly and dress nice.
William, you're like one of, fairly new agents still. How do you feel, or what do you think about the way like you were dressing at the beginning and now that you dress like really professional? Like, how do you feel like?
How was I dressing in the beginning?
No, like more like to your age.
To my age?
Yes, and now like you wear like suits more often.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, I
do
think we
you-
should point out the fact that William is young. So,
yes,
yeah.
he's like really young. She's like 20. How old are you? Yeah,
Yeah.
like 20. So you were dressing, more appropriate to your age. Now you're dressing like in suits. Do you feel like your own clients respect you more because you dress more professional?
Yes, I do. Because if I was to show up to showing appointments, listing appointments, or any type of showings at all, with the way I dressed at first, I would dress in jeans and a t-shirt and dunks all the time. Jordan,
What's the name of those jeans that you wear?
Rock Revivals. Yeah. Hey,
My son is into
hey,
that.
that's like, bro, that's the Hispanic version of True Religion,
Oh,
bro.
That's what I was gonna say. Those are like truths,
That's
right?
like True
Yeah.
Religion,
Terrible,
bro.
duh.
Hey,
But-
they're expensive. They're not that cheap either.
But yeah, like I would dress at first, I would dress in t-shirts. I would dress in some of them were polo shirts, but they were like crew neck shirts. And I got told, man, if you're gonna wear like a t-shirt, at least wear a polo, like the button-up polos. So I started doing that little by little, but I realized that button downs were the way to go even more to become more professional, like to look more professional. And yeah, that's when I started getting more into suits. As I was more in there, as I was meeting more people. What made me actually want to wear suits more is what my mentors told me: your appearance matters a lot, and it does, because if I've gotten into these meetings before where with them, and if I were to show up how I did at first with like regular t-shirts and ducks, yeah, I would have looked like a fool in front of everybody, honestly. So, um, I think like if you're new, like if you're just gonna start to come in here, like I would suggest to actually start dressing professional, not dress like your age.
No,
'Cause-
and something.
This
yeah,
One thing that I want to make this point real quick before I let you go. One thing that most realtors don't even take into account is the fact the way that you present yourself on social media says a lot about you. So whoever's making me a lowball offer, an offer that I don't like for my client, the moment that I see your profile on Instagram, I'm gonna let my client know, like, hey, yeah, you know what? They're a realtor who hasn't been around that long. They don't even present themselves
Said, dude,
professionally. We're gonna eat their lunch, so let's get the most that we can out of them.
That dude's
'Cause
a
I know they're not gonna
clown.
do it. Yeah, they're a clown, bro. Like, look at him, look at him, look at his haircut. You know what I'm saying? So, what were you gonna say, Flo?
I was gonna say that that what William just said. That is a great advice for like young realtors or barely getting into the industry that don't know where to start. Start by dressing professionally.
yeah.
And talking professionally. I
That too.
mean, there's some realtors that come in here and every other word is the F word, every other word is the. I mean, it's like, oh, I'm sitting here listening. Oh my God, like, come on, bro. I mean, you really have to say the F word for every single emphasis. I mean, it's terrible.
Not just that, speaking with another realtor too, who's not inside of your brokerage. It's funny you said it because I just had a call with another realtor from somewhere else who made an offer, and everything else was the F word. And I was like, bro, we're not even like having a confrontation. You're calling me to let me know that there was an offer made. Why are you cursing right now? I answered my yes sir, no sir, yeah, no. You know what? I always respectfully, especially as a realtor, right? Because the moment that you need to bring out the aggression is whenever things aren't going your way. There's no reason to be throwing F bombs or cursing on the phone. Speaking with another realtor, to me, it just shows that you're not professional.
Yeah, definitely.
Same.
Especially if you sound like you just woke up. Don't do that. Take about 15, 20 minutes. Even if you just did wake up, take about 15, 20 minutes, do some vocal exercises. Don't sound like you just woke up before you call me. Because so if you're at 2 o'clock in the afternoon and you were in bed, yeah, no, that's not gonna work.
You're not making.
I had a realtor tell me one time that people that cuss, it means that they're really intelligent, or that they're really high. I don't even remember what exactly he was telling
high
me.
IQ.
Yeah, and I'm like, bro, I heard that people that cuss is because they have a low vocabulary. They don't know how to express themselves, so they use a cuss word for every sentence that they use. But
I mean, unless it's part of your character, something that we talked, and I'm not talking caricature, right? If it's part of your mascot or a character that you're playing, not necessarily who you personally are, but if you're playing something on IG or something like that, right? Of course. that's funny. You know, that's a mascot who you're presenting to the world to get clients.
Mhm.
But the way that you present yourself to other people, it should not be cursing every
Yeah.
other word. Yeah, there is definitely a level to it. So now that we've talked about professionalism, I want to talk about how a lot of these realtors who are unprofessional are definitely going to be dropping out of this business if this goes through what the DOJ wants to do. I'm not sure if you guys are up to date, but you can find this article on Inman. They're talking about how the last lawsuit that went through, where we're talking about how you have to disclose what the realtor is going to get paid on the buying side. Now the DOJ is saying, which is on the federal level, that that's not enough for them. So now they're fighting with NAR about that, and they're saying that it has to be completely negotiated separately.